guys, hey you rates, welcome back. We're doing 4C today, but before we do, I just want to do a couple of things from 4B you might have had trouble with. So the first thing is, if you remember I gave the equation circumference equals 2 pi r, 2 times pi on your calculator times by the radius. There's another formula that's exactly the same. You can also use this one, circumference equals pi times d, and d is the diameter. And if you remember, the diameter equals 2 lots of the radius. So 2 times radius, those two multiplied together equals d. So they're the exact same formula. You can use either one. I just choose to use 2 pi r all the time. Excellent. And another one here, another example. We did one similar to this. If you look at this shape here, that distance is 5, that's 6. We want the perimeter of that shape. We have no idea about the lengths of these individually, but we know that all these horizontal ones across there, all of them combined add up to 6 centimetres across that way. And then the same this way, they add to 5 centimetres, all the vertical ones. So the perimeter of that shape is 6 plus 5 plus 6 across that way plus 5. And that's the way you work that one out. So we don't care about each individual one, but collectively they add up to 6 and they add to 5. So that would be 10 and 12, which is 22. Don't forget the units or else you lose a mark. Excellent. Now we're going to start on 4C, so come with me over here. And we're doing the area of basic shapes. So have a look at those notes, please. So copy those down. I'll give you a second. Okay, so hopefully you've copied all that down. Make sure you pause it if you need to. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is conversions. So, converting kilometres to metres to centimetres to millimetres. You did this in year 7, but here's our conversion table. If you're changing kilometres to metres, you times by 1,000. See that? That's a conversion because there's 1,000 metres in a kilometre. Next one, metres to centimetres, you times by 100 because there's 100 centimetres in a metre. And centimetres to millimetres, you times by 10 because there's 10 millimetres in a centimetre. Now going the other way, it's just the exact same but in reverse. Divide by 10, divide by 100, divide by 1,000. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. So we did that in the other exercise, that's just the normal length. But this time we're doing area conversions. So if you have a look down here, kilometres squared to metres squared. If we refer back to our original one, we times it by 1,000 when we're talking one dimension. So we times it by 1,000 when it's one dimension, but area is two dimension. We've got length times width. So the conversion this time is actually 1,000 squared because they are squared units. See that, everyone? So 1,000 squared, instead of having 3 zeros, it's actually got 6 zeros. So that changes to 1 million. So 1 kilometre squared is actually 1 million metres squared. And let's do the next one. Metres squared to centimetres squared. Metres to centimetres you times by 100, but because they're squared units, we make it 100 squared. Instead of 2 zeros, we've got 4 zeros. So it makes it times it by 10,000. And the next one, instead of timesing by 10, we times it by 10 squared, which is 100. So you times it by 100, and you do the opposite the other way. So it's divide by 100, divide by 10,000, and divide by 1 million. Okay, so that is our area conversion chart. So if you can't remember that, go back to the original one. You should be able to remember that and square all the conversions. And then you get our actual conversions for area. Excellent. Let's do some examples of that. Convert 0.248 metres squared to centimetres squared. So we go back over here. Metres squared to centimetres squared. We're timesing by 10,000. Okay, so if you want me to write that here, we can. Times by 10,000. From year 7, we multiply by 10,000, we move the decimal place 4 spots to the right. So we go 1, 2, 3, and the fourth one jumps to 0. So our answer is 2480 centimetres squared. It's as easy as that. Next one, millimetres squared to centimetres squared. So millimetres squared to centimetres squared, we divide by 100. Can you see that there? Divide by 100. So to divide by 100, you either move the decimal point 2 spots back, or you can simply chop off 2 zeros. So we get 31 centimetres squared. And the last one, I've put in a hard one, millimetres squared. We're changing it all the way to metres squared. I like doing this in 2 steps. So millimetres squared to centimetres squared first, we divide by 100. So for that one, I'm going to chop off 2 zeros and write down what we've got. 56200, put in the comma. So that's how many centimetres squared. Now, centimetres squared to metres squared, we divide by 10,000. So we divide by 10,000, we'll move the decimal point 4 spots back. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. The decimal point's now going to be there. So we write it down and we get 5.62 metres squared. And that's the answer. How easy is that? Alright, so that's the conversion stuff. People always have trouble with that, so make sure you practice that. Next bit is area. You should have done this in year 7 as well. Area of a square is length squared. Area of a rectangle is length times width. Easy peasy. Next one. Area of a parallelogram. So a parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides, and pretty much it's just a rectangle pushed over on its side. So the formula for this is the base, so the base length, times by the vertical height. And the height is that one there. The reason why I say vertical height is because it's that distance there, not the sloping distance. Sometimes they try to trick you with that. And the last one is area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, because it's exactly half of a rectangle. So it's base times height divided by 2. And the last bit here is a little bit harder for year 8 stuff, is composite shapes. So a composite shape is just is one big shape made up of 2 simple shapes. So here you can see we've chopped it down there. We've got a rectangle here, and we've got a triangle here. So the way you can work out that is 2 different ways. Work out the area of the rectangle, and then the area of the triangle separately, and add the 2 together. And then you've got the area of the whole shape. Or another way to do it, if you did it this way, you could work out the area of that one big rectangle, then work out the area of this little triangle and subtract it, because you're going to chop that little bit off there. Either way is correct. I don't mind which way you do it, as long as you show your steps and show your workings out, and you'll get it right. Alright, we're going to do a couple more examples over on the other board. Follow me, everyone. Alright, let's do some examples here. This is a parallelogram. Find the area. So have a look at that. Copy it down first would probably be a good idea. Copy that and the rest of the examples. Leave a space so you can fill in. Alright, let's do this one. Find the area of the parallelogram. Firstly, we write the formula out, like always. Area equals the base times by the vertical height. So we notice here the base is 10, and the height, the vertical height is 5. That is the sloping height, and that's the distraction. We do not need that one. So do not use that. They put that there in a test to see if you understand what you're doing. So it's 10 times 5, and hopefully you know 10 times 5 is 50. Don't forget the units. This time it's centimetres squared, because it's an area. Don't write centimetres, it's centimetres squared. Now the next one, this looks like a composite shape to me. So we've got a little dotted line to separate them. I'm going to work out the area of the square first, because it's 5 times 5, and the area of the triangle, and add them together. So yes, you could just go 5 5s are 25 and put 25 there and work it out, but that's not very good. You should show your workings out. So the area of the square equals 5 times 5, which is 25. Don't worry about units until the very end. Now we've got a triangle there. That's 4, and the height is 5. Can you see that? Because that height's 5. So the area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2. 4 times 5 divided by 2. 20 divided by 2, which is 10. And now we're going to say, so total area, so we're going to answer the question. So the total area is 25 plus the 10, which is 35. And the units are centimetres squared. Excellent. Hopefully you understood that. Let's do one more really hard one. So find the area of this shape. So we've got a big rectangle and we've got this little triangle cut out of it. So what we're going to do is work out the area of the whole rectangle and then work out the area of the triangle and subtract the triangle. So let's do it over here. So area of rectangle is 4 times 8, 8 fours, which are 32. That's pretty easy. Now the area of this little triangle, let's just do it. I'm running out of space. Area of triangle is base times height divided by 2. So it's 5 times 2 divided by 2, which is 5. Let's That's 10 divided by 2, which is 5. So now we can say here, total area is equal to 32, that's the area of the big rectangle, minus the 5, and that is 27. So it's 27 and the units are metres squared. That wasn't too hard, was it? Let's do a really tricky one this time. This one's working backwards, so this is like an extension level question. A triangle has an area of 20 centimetres squared and it's got a base of 4 centimetres. Find the height. So we're going to work out, use the formula first. So area of a triangle, area is base times height divided by 2. Always start with the formula. Fill in the information that you've got. The area is 20, the base is 4, 4 times height divided by 2. Now we're going to solve this equation using our knowledge from past topics. So times both sides by 2, we get 40 equals 4 times h, and divide by 4, we get h equals 10. So the height is 10 and its units are centimetres. So see that? We wrote the formula, substitute the information that we know, and then we work backwards to find the value of h, and h is 10 centimetres. So if you have a look here everyone, 4C, 1 to 6 every second question, 7 to 9. Don't forget, do your work, have fun at home, and smash that like button.